And a very good morning to you from Lewis in East Sussex. We pulled the Demanio this morning. It's 8 minutes, but I'm going to sing a little ditty to you. Oh, people just love me singing first thing in the morning. If you go down to the studio today, you're in for a great surprise because there is, underneath the desk, our tech studio manager, Tony Johnson. He lives here. He lives here. Here I was struggling with all sorts of technical things this morning, and suddenly he looms out of the dark and comes and leans over my and with click 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 click. Click. He's got it all sorted. Well done, Tony. He's always here, always at our shoulders, ready to make sure that we get on the air properly. Right. So here we are on. Let's see. It is Thursday, November the 18th. Is that right? Yes, it is. I've got the date right today. So it is the 18th. It is now 5 minutes past 8. We were only 3 minutes late on this morning, and I do apologize. But here we go with a look at what's going on, and hopefully Andrew Sloane is going to join me. We know that he's got the link, so if it doesn't all go wrong the way that it has been doing lately, then Andrew will be with us. But first of all, it's not a bad morning out there. It's chilly. It's only 12 degrees. And if it's going to rain, it's going to rain in the early part in the next couple of hours. And after that, the threat of rain diminishes as the day goes on. A gentle breeze. Well, I checked the trees before I came out. The trouble is that checking with the trees is it's dark first thing in the morning. So I'm not quite sure whether I'm seeing motion or not. And I actually had a mince pie in my hand this morning as I dashed out to catch the bus to come into the centre of Lewis and into our studio. So that's what's in store for you. Andrew should be along in a minute or two, and if he's not, Tony is lurking there to make sure he can get him on board. This is the one area that we've had great difficulty with, and I hope that we are too. I should move along a little bit. I can sort of, dear old Jenry is behind us. If you wonder who Jenry is, this is the sculpture, I suppose it is, of a medieval knight that sits in the grounds of the priory in Lewis, the St. Pancras Priory, and it's on site of part of the Battle of Lewis, the part that spilled over. And it spilled over into the priory, and the monks were thought to be hiding the king, and the Montfort troops poured in. The reports that seem to be accurate are that there were some thatched roofs, and they were set on fire by burning arrows or mayhem. But anyway, there is the statue sitting on the site of part of the Battle of Lewis in 1264. And that is the start of democracy in England, which spread throughout the world. So there you are, you're looking at the very spot. And we call him Jenry because we looked at the names that were the medieval names that were common at that time, and one was John and the other was Henry. So we decided that he would be our knight and he would be Sir Jenry. And so Jenry he's become. And so Jenry, he is fondly known as in our studio and in our offices and amongst our people who work with us and for us on Mirador. So there you are, another mystery solved. Now, let's just take a quick look through the newspaper headlines, shall we? The PM Sleaze row, car crash and the Queen back on duty is what it says. The Daily Express, Boris, it's been a car crash on Sleaze. And at long last, Boris has said, oh, dear, 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 dear. Yes, I've created all sorts of problems here, and I shouldn't have done this, and I shouldn't have done that when it comes to the question of trying to help one of his MPs, a former cabinet minister, keep his job, and who has now resigned and left Boris high and dry. And at long last, the Prime Minister, who's been denying that all along that he's done anything wrong or he's handled it badly, has now said, yeah, okay. The Daily Telegraph, I crashed the car over Patterson, admits the Prime Minister. Same theme. Incidentally, on both papers, there is a picture of the Queen, who is said now to ready to resume royal duties. The PM under siege from his own party, says the Eye. There are a lot of backbenchers that are getting very restless. It's all very well for the government and the cabinet to flaunt their power as they govern. But if they flaunt that power, what happens is that the backbenchers start to suffer. They start to go back to their surgeries, they start to go back to their constituencies, and they talk to the people that matter, and that's us, the people who vote. And when the people who vote say, oi, we're not at all happy with what's going on, and we could easily dump you at the next election, that's when they come back and they start to say to the people in government or the cabinet, look, you guys better get your act together, because the natives are restless, and the natives are getting restless, and things are not going at all well, and particularly since the Daily Mail, his headline is £2,000 cost of living shock. In other words, if you earn £30,000, you can expect £2,000 added to your cost of living. I haven't figured out mine with anybody. Anyway, inflation in October hit 4.5% apparently. And since we've had zero inflation, that's really beginning to bite home. I notice it because I go in and the pound loaf of bread is now £1.20. I always go around. I go around Waitrose, which is the posh store, and I look at all the stickers. Reduced. I know it's got to be eaten within 24 hours, but that's okay. You get some very good stuff. I feed on salmon and oysters and so on and so forth because they're reduced. Oh, yeah, you believe that? You believe anything? All right. So the MPs, the members of Parliament, are getting on the back of Boris and saying, "Listen, you've been looking after the boys. You've been looking after your small enclave of friends and colleagues and associates who are in the cabinet, and you're not paying much attention to the electorate out there." Aha! I think there we've got to Andrew from Grizzly. Yes, indeed, there he is. So we'll hang on for a minute or two. We'll just go finish the headlines because we'll get Andrew's view on things, and we've got a little surprise for him in a minute, I think. There we are, the Daily Mail, £2,000 cost of living shock. And Andrew is very, very good to me when I go in to have my hair cut. First of all, he says, have this one on me. Well, that's not fair. He's a small businessman like us. So I refuse that. But then he says, well, I'll tell you what, Keith, is the £13 that I charge is people of your age. And he says it so nicely. I don't feel as if I'm 126. He says, but now he looked, I was in there yesterday and he looked and he said, inflation, dear boy, inflation is now, I'm going to charge you 25 quid. No. I'm teasing. I mean, I'll tell you one thing, if you want to have a civilized haircut, and it's a barb's, it doesn't cater to anything other than men and boys. And if anybody wants to go on the isms of feminism and so on, is forget it, because that would be nonsense and rubbish. It's a great place to go. And it's a great place to go and have my first morning drink. No wonder I got hiccups every morning. Is I go to Andrew's on a lunchtime and I have a drink of coffee, which is laced with Jack Daniels, actually. I come back here and almost immediately I start to get the hiccups. Do you wonder why? Right, okay, The Guardian is social care cap could expose poorer homeowners to catastrophic costs. It's all really about inflation and how much everybody's going to have to pay extra. Someone's blown me up. The Mirror has an exclusive into the hospital bomb taxi hero. Yes, the taxi driver and the security guard who rescued him after the Liverpool bombing on Sunday. Excuse me. The Metro, the London paper, the Queen returns to her duties. And insulate Britain. That's its headline. And the Metro goes on the jailing of 9 Insulate Britain activists for breaching an injunction preventing them from causing further disruption. So They may have glued themselves to the road. Now they're gluing themselves to prison bars, and they were warned. So if they've got the courage of their convictions, that's fine. But they're going to be banged up. Ah, my dear Daily Star, what's happening here? Oh dear, how sad. Never mind. That's all about the insulate people, and it's got a picture of some of them looking through prison bars. I love that star. I really do. I don't think I could fancy reading the inside, but its cover is just absolutely fantastic. And the Financial Times, Amazon to stop taking Visa credit cards as the battle intensifies over fees. So all these online stores and so on are getting into some sort of trade war, and Amazon is now going to take Visa. It's obviously falling out, or there's some sort of conflict there. You can't make all this up, can you? And the Sun, I'm Jack's other woman, and poor old Jack Grealish, the Aston Villa player who is now transferred to Manchester City, is finding out what it's like to be under the spotlight, and he's been caught out with having an illicit affair, I think, with another lady when he's been saying nice things about his girlfriend. Is the thing is, and I'm sorry, the feminists will get after me for making awfully anti-lady remarks. But it applies as much to the women as the men. If we were all caught with our little infidelities, we'd all be on the front page of the Sun. I'm Jack's other woman. So poor old Grealish is finding out what it's like. Well, now, first of all, let me just play something. I think it's going to work. Yeah. Well, Andrew Sloane.
Hello, Keith.
Hello.
Right? Morning.
Did you recognize? Where that was that we were just showing?
I know it's funny. Like every time, every so often somebody will play it in the shop or whatever. You see it and you just hear this music now. It's now going to be embedded of my memory for ages now. That music, I love it. I love it.
I'm going to ask
really lucky, actually.
Tony, can you raise the sound for me, Tony, a little bit? I'm having difficulty listening to you. You know Tony, of course, Andrew, because we have a lot to do. We really love your shop and the people there, and it's so great there. So here's dear Tony, who actually, these insulate people have just been thrown behind bars because they glued themselves to the floor. He's glued himself to the studio. He's always here. He's absolutely fantastic. But anyway, you indeed are also fantastic because you run perhaps one of the most intriguing barbershops anywhere in Lewes, but for that matter, probably anywhere in Sussex. Because the first thing that happens is you're offered either a Jack Daniels or some sort of American beer. Is that right?
Well, I like to think of it as it's like going into someone's home, really. So it sounds a bit cliche and a bit right on, but we're only as good as our clients, really. And I just wanted it to be like a friendly environment because it can be quite intimidating going into any shop, really, I suppose, or let alone a barber shop, because so many people don't sort of really acknowledge a customer straight away. So I'm very hot on, if someone's going to come around to my house, they'd get a coffee or tea or a beer or whatever, really. It depends on time of day or whatever the customer wants, really. So it's the same thing, really. I just wanted customers to feel that they could walk in. I mean, some of our customers don't even come in for a cut. You know, they come in socially as well, which is really lovely actually. That people feel as if they're in town, or they just sort of pop in. You know, like you would really, like we used to do, pop round and see friends or family. You know, that's the thing, because especially as well, we've got, I mean, obviously our clients that range from sort of 9, 10 years old up till sort of 70 and above, really. So it's that thing of where else do people go unless you go and pay to sit in a cafe, and sometimes that can be a bit uncomfortable, or it's going to be a pub environment. I like to feel that anybody could just pop in, really, just to be social. You know?
Well, you actually almost exclusively for men, because you're a men's hairdresser, and that's fair enough, because women's hairdressers, they will take men occasionally, but not very often. But there is one little lady in there when I walk in, as I'm just in love with her.
Oh, little Bella. Yeah, no, see, bless her, my sort of, well, she's got a jug. So she's a Jack Russell Pug cross. So she was from Raisted originally, like 10 years ago. So there's of course, being Brighton, there's a pug meetup group. So I emailed them and said, look, if anybody knows of anybody. And then one of the lead carers from Raisted rang and said, oh, we've had a pug cross come in today. You know, it's not really settling with the family because it's a young baby. So we popped over and met her, and straight away, I mean, as she is obviously not as excitable as she is with you, but came running over to us straight away and stuff. So we fell in love with her, and we sort of did all the paperwork the next day, and she came home with us. So she was only in there like a day or two, which was great. And you know, Raisted is such a great vibe. You know, it's, the staff are just brilliant. You can tell they really care about all the animals and stuff. And I know that sort of goes without saying with Dogs Trust or SPCA or vice versa. But so many people obviously go to breeders and they sell because they think they're getting a better dog. But actually, oh, that's my email. The vibe in there was so great that we fell in love with her, and she was easy peasy. So literally, she's majority of my sort of career, really, she's come in to work with me. So, and it's a great thing to have, you know, she sort of just hangs out, and she's such a people dog that, you know, she'll just sort of sit around.
She's a little tart. She's a little tart, because when I come in, she comes and she makes all sorts of love to me. It's absolutely wonderful. And then whoever's got the biscuit, she dashes off.
Yeah, she was like that before you gave her biscuits, though. That's the other thing. She was a bit thinner, can I say? But yeah, she loves the biscuit. But you know, she loves you, Keith. You know, it's that funny thing of she spins and howls and stuff, because you sort of communicate with her and stuff. And when people come in, I look down to the waiting area and they're just chatting away with Bella, or those big old butch builders, and they sit there. She'll jump up on their laps and move their arms out the way, and you know, she's sort of queen of the shop, really, as it were. Yeah, she's great. We love her. We're very lucky to have her, really. She's great. She's a great vibe in the shop because the kids love her. You know, then the mums can sort of play with her while the kids are getting a haircut or whatever. Yeah, it's great. Very lucky.
Well, I hold you up as one of my heroes, because I love entrepreneurs. And you actually started in a shop next door to yours, working for somebody else. When he decided to give up, you took the plunge. You went and you gathered your few bobs together, and you started your own business, which is known Grizzlies, right? And when you walk in, there are grizzly bears all over the place, and Montana car plates and all sorts of things. I mean, it's absolutely super shop, but it's yours. You are the boss.
Yeah, it's like I was basically taking advantage of a situation, because when obviously lockdowns kept happening, being self-employed barbers, and we just all of a sudden, you know, couldn't work, which is quite frustrating, really, because obviously in a barber environment, everything's sterilized, everything's fresh, everything's clean between gowns and stuff. So that's part of our training, you know, cross-contamination and stuff. So we've always been aware of that. So when we couldn't, obviously lockdown 1, everybody shut down. We understand that. But then as it got on, it got a bit frustrating, really, that we couldn't work. And then you'd go in various places and, you know, various supermarkets, shall we say, and the staff were like Shaun of the Dead, walking around all with rank masks, and it was quite frustrating, really, because we couldn't work anyway. So, and Harry, who owns next door, has got 2 other shops, and decided not to reopen after lockdown, Lewis. And as I sort of managed next door, and then the place I'm in now came up. So, because Chantal's moved up to the high street, to a nice bigger property. So yeah, so I sort of took advantage, and I took a punt, really, with how to get a business bounce back loan, you know. to do it up. But luckily, you know, I had a couple of years worth of lovely clients we built up from next door in Lewes, so I managed to sort of contact my favourites really, and sort of say, look, I'm going to jump across. But you know, and a couple of friends came and helped out, sort of doing it up really. And I've got a local, it's called the Wood Store in Brighton. It's one of my clients, Steve, and it's all recycled and reclaimed wood. So it's stuff from old houses, or so a lot of the stuff in the shop is from like an old train station, and they sort of staked it down. So I sort of really wanted that sort of homely feel really. So and Steve, God bless him, did me like amazing, like everybody just did me amazing deals and helped me out really, because you know, people are lovely, aren't they? So I was very, very, very lucky really. So I managed to do it with the bounce back loan, you know, it's got to start paying in January. Thank you, government. Yeah, so but it's great. You know, I love it because it's that way that you can have your own shop in a way. So I don't really take any nonsense. So, you know, if somebody comes in and is a bit rude, you know, which sometimes, you know, it's very rare, but occasionally, as we all know, there's a certain type of person that thinks it's all about them. And don't take no for an answer if you can't put them in. So, yeah, so it's quite nice that you can sort of just make sure, really, that all your customers are lovely. So other customers don't feel awkward and somebody else has been a bit off or whatever, really. So that's quite nice. Being your own boss, you really can create your own vibe in a way. And you know, so, and plus I can not pick and choose the hours, but obviously some of my clients work at various different hours, you know, some of the scaffolders, builders, and of course they're all self-employed, they're working away from Lewes and stuff, so they can't get back between 10 and 6, you know. So I'll come in early for various clients, like in South Key, or I'll stay later for other clients, because you just sort of think you've got to make it work for everyone, really. And then because, you know, it's all peaks and troughs, isn't it? Sometimes it's a quiet afternoon, so you think, you know, it's quiet, I can catch up with things, but then I'm here till 8. But if it helps out other people, so it makes it work, I'm not going to be a martyr. I'm not going to work all the hours God sends, because, you know, I'm getting on, so I need to be careful and have a bit of rest. But
spring chicken. Let's just remind people of what we're talking about.
Oh. See? Look at, oh, you see, don't I look great? You see my lovely old phone? Spider-Man, that was from a customer, Simon, with the record shop. Lovely fireman, you see me do in the shop. Your hat, there's your girlfriend. Oh, lovely Joe, see? Clean, sterile every time. There you see. Oh, that's lovely Graham Carlo, of course, who did that video for us.
He had to take it off because I did something wrong. What did I do wrong?
I just thought, oh, well, it doesn't matter.
I clicked the wrong button.
People can check out the video. People can check out the video on Instagram, and we are sort of starting to create a YouTube channel. But you know, at 49, it's all. See, this is the other thing as well. Life is all about social media and all this stuff now, isn't it? And it's quite dull, really, because things like this is great. What you're doing here, it's a very one-to-one. It's a very people can access it, re-access it. It's brilliant. But everything's so social media focused now. And of course, you know, we all work and stuff, and you've got to do all that stuff on top of everything else. Of course, that all takes time, you know. So yeah, lovely Graham, who Carlo, who came and shot the video, and edited it for us, and then of course, lovely Tony putting our logo at the end, which is brilliant actually. That stamp is great, but I was a bit of a diva though, because I was very, very with Graham. These are the images we want. This is the shot. This is the style. This is the feel. You know, so I yeah, you know, you try and be a person and clear with what you want, but obviously, you know, it's Graham's creative flows that's created it. Bless him. Yeah, I'm very pleased. It's great, isn't it? It's cute. It's just different because, you know, social media is dull. People post, oh, there's a picture of a haircut. There's a picture, or people post pictures of their food, you know, and you just think, right. And all the kids, everyone loves social media. So I just wanted to do something a bit more different, and that video is going to be broken into various little videos as well, you know. So one about coffee, one about bookings, a little snippets continually. But of course, you know, Graham has to do all this on top of all his other stuff as well. So everything takes time. Everything takes time. If you've got loads of budget, you've got loads of money, it's fine. But if you're, as you know, if you're a bit of a sort of one-man band, it's on top of everything else. But you know, you try, isn't it? It's like, these are trying times. We've all got to do what we've got to do, really.
Yeah. Well, we'll go to the newspaper headlines with you in a moment. And can I have another go and see whether I can put this video? But right, we're going to have it. So watch carefully, just in case I do it properly. Can you see that?
Can see it. Oh, there we go. I can hear it now. Yeah. Spider-Man. Simon has a record shop. Give us that. Yeah. Simon, because I do all the firemen down the road. Yeah. Your hat. Lovely. Sterile, obviously. Oh, lovely beers. Oh, lovely Ollie there. Look. Oh, those two have been coming to me since they were 12 years old, those boys. Lovely Ben, who's now already trained to be a train driver. Oh, one of your special coffees, Keith. Oh, my boys, look. Oh. Chris, oh, bless him. Oh, yeah, my travel books. Oh, there you are. Oh, that's great, that is. And that lovely stamp at the end of our sign out front. That's really good. Yeah, bless Tony for doing that.
So there you go. Yeah,
oh,
let's see if I can get us back. There we go. Right. Talk about unusual.
I know.
On Market Street. And let me tell you this, Andrew is part of our team. So this is not a paid ad. This is something that his colleague did, and Tony got hold of it and said, I'll just put a little bit of detail in so that people know what we're talking about, who we're talking about, and here you are. Let's just take a look at the newspaper headlines now. The Daily Express is saying, Boris, it's been a car crash on Sleaze. And the Express, traditionally this year, over the last couple of years, has been a great government supporter. Now, how do you see what's been happening in Westminster with all this favoritism and well, I suppose it really is sort of money in somebody's pocket, isn't it, one way or another? But now Boris is saying, yes, I'm terribly sorry, I mishandled this. What do you get from the barber's chair?
Right. Well, actually, what's quite nice is 99.9% of people who come in, all sorts, this has been throughout really, all think the same. So it's quite interesting where you hear on the news or you see in the press or social media, all this various stuff, and it seems to be really biased. I know that seems a bit, obvious probably, but we're all on the same page public-wise. So I don't know who's voting for these people. And I don't know how they're getting in because my clients are sort of quite a wide range of people really, and everyone's shocked and horrified all the time. And it's just a thing, isn't it? Like, it's how stories are spin, I suppose. So I saw on the news yesterday, I don't watch the news because it's too depressing, it's grim, and I don't want it to be in my lovely world. But it's, we get Boris Johnson. I've refused to say Boris. I've always got to say Boris Johnson because he's, this clown character. And you just think, no, hang on, he's a prime minister. He's got responsibilities, and this is a big deal, But just to say, I made a mistake. But what keeps happening is things happen. So Dominic Cummings, who's the other one? That awful guy. Oh, Matt Hancock, and Boris and various other people we don't know about, and Owen Paterson. They keep making mistakes. But you go, so their original intention is coming from a place of dishonesty. So the decisions they make, like HS2, I don't know if I heard this right just now, but now they're scrapping or something. And so you think, right, so the Tories' original plans are always not necessarily in the favours of the people. So, and then they have to U-turn and say we made a mistake. So surely, why can't we have somebody, a prime minister or a government or somebody, the intention should always be from a good place, shouldn't they? I know that's a bit Brighton, but, it's common sense really, isn't it? So second jobs, if they're paying, because, I heard that there was a Deliveroo bill for £46,000 in government over lockdown. And you think, £46,000, that's like salaries and that's money, and people are using food banks. Or there's these two battleships apparently that are in by the Forth Bridge in Scotland, that I think they're up to 6 billion to repair them or 6 billion to scrap them. So they're sat there. And you just think all this money that gets wasted, take packed lunch, take the sandwiches like me. I couldn't afford to do Deliveroo. So I don't understand it. And then there's complete shame to come out. But where's the, what's the word? Where's the comeuppance? Where's the, when they mess up, like Dominic Cummings going up to Barnard Castle? Apparently that's where GlaxoSmithKline are and who made Moderna. But there we go. To spot the link, follow the money. And Matt Hancock. And you just think all this time, but if in the end of the job, you get a verbal warning, a written warning, you'd be out, or you'd get a good talking to. But why don't they come up and, if they make a mistake, I'd be mortified. So surely they should be like, pull up and go, this is absolutely wrong. I'd resign. There should be no fanning around, really. It should just be straight away. But why are the people that make these wrong decisions initially in power? It's crazy. Why take Richard Branson's jet up into space? And there's people using food banks. On what planet are we worried about putting a Starbucks on the moon? I just think Jeff Bezos, I don't know who these people are, but the world's gone mad politically. And we need to
I'm having a morning off this morning, Andrew. You've taken over. You're really the mouth that's roaring this morning.
Sorry. Shut me up.
Oh, I love it. I watched already I've got visions of coming up and having a Jack Daniels in coffee sometime during the morning.
Lovely. I watched the Channel 4 News last night.
It's great stuff. Great stuff.
Christian Guhan Murphy, who I love normally, and if I'm going to watch the news, it's always Channel 4, obviously, being growing up in the 80s and 70s, and Channel 4 came along and it's right on. But they were talking about the whole, and then Keir Starmer coming about second jobs, but then he just literally, it was Angela, the deputy leader of the Labour Party. Then Christian Murphy on Channel 4 has just flipped it around on her about Keir Starmer and the wages and stuff. I thought, hang on a minute, we're not talking about that. We're literally talking about the dealing of all this. So it seems to be that the media are very, I don't know. I know the Labour Party, Keir Starmer's an estate agent, isn't he, really? Let's face it. We need to have a big overhaul, really. We need Kathy Burke as Prime Minister. We need Jacques Peretti, the economist and documentary filmmaker. We need Grayson Perry, because he's right on. Ruby Wax, Russell Brand. Martin Lewis should be the economy minister, basically. We just need to have right on people, really, who, things are fair and stuff. And I know they're raising the national insurance and that's gone up, and you think, well, can I go through the Tory MPs or the government, any MP really? Can I go through their petty cash return? I need to go through every receipt and go, am I going to justify that? Am I going to justify that?
They don't have to. No, they got their own rules. And my view has always been that if MPs actually just face the tax man,
weird,
same as the rest of us, it'll be solved. Yeah, instead of living to a different set of rules, which are so flexible that you can stuff your pockets full of money. And all because they work hard.
If they can justify it.
You work hard, I work hard. We don't have any
oh my God.
Concessions whatsoever.
That's the thing, isn't it? It's the thing of it just seems they can just do what they want, and it doesn't. But apparently there's a great documentary actually Jacques Peretti did. I think it's the Men Who Lost Us Millions or something like that. It's on YouTube. It's from Channel 4, BBC actually. But it goes through all the things where local councils, there's one I think in Essex or Kent or something, they're paying 18 grand for a 3D reception instead of a person, and you just think that's a waste of money. Might as well have a signpost. And various things where the money's going. And that's the thing, like, if they can justify it, I'm not being all, right on and mad, but if you can justify the receipt and go, well, actually, we had to work through the night to do stuff that was unexpected to do a bill, so we actually got a delivery on petty cash. You go, okay, you get that because you've all been working. But it's just this constant entitlement thing. And I don't know, and then they're linked, aren't they? It's like, I want to get a big white wall and write certain things on the wall and follow the money, because things don't make sense. Because then you find out, well, like the tests, Randox and stuff, that the CEOs of these companies allegedly are then directly linked to these MPs, and you think, hang on a minute. So it does seem to be a bit jobs for the boys. And meanwhile, we're all in supermarkets, I'm in Asda, and everything's gone up 40p, little by little, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Toilet rolls have gone up 40p, squash has gone up 30p.
Inflation now is at 4.5% apparently for October.
Well,
so I have to ask you, are you going to raise your prices?
Yeah, but who's paying for it? This is the other thing. I don't want to go all like Derek Hatton, but we're all trying to, we're trying to buy, right, okay, we'll get that nice brown rice. We make all our meals at home. You try and get the deals, 2 for, £6 toilet rolls or whatever. We're all trying to do that, aren't we? And meanwhile, they're spending £46,000 on delivery. I just think it's crazy. But who's the normal people? We're getting up at 6:30 to get ready, working through. We're all trying to work hard, aren't we? And I don't know. It just seems it's not fair, is it? Really, because it's squeezing us all really, really tight, and it keeps going on the news. It's costing us more.
Now, I'm chuckling because those viewers who are enjoying listening to Andrew this morning, because I thought I was the master of the rant, but I've certainly either taught him well or he's coming up on the outside to outdo me. But Mickey Connors, who quite often watches us in the morning live. Not too many people watch us live, but throughout the day it gains traction when people have got time to tap in. But Mickey is saying, hey, listen, the green screen, people don't understand the technology, because what it does is it allows the Queen to be in places that she's not really. She could be sitting at home and it looks as if she's in Westminster. But I have to tell you now, Mickey, that I am really, it's not green screen, I am sitting in Priory Park in front of St. January, and it's bloody cold at the moment. It's very chilly, and I'm talking to Andrew sitting out here in the park. No, I'm not. And that's exactly the point that you're making, is we could put the Queen next to me and lots of people would actually believe that she's there. But I started to talk about the technology because if you're enjoying Andrew, he's going to have his own program with us pretty soon called Snipchat. Now, let's change the temper of things, Andrew. What's Snipchat about?
So Snipchat basically is like eavesdropping in on people's sort of conversations, really. So, because when you're in sort of anywhere in a hairdresser chair or barber's chair, that sometimes you never know what you're going to talk about, really. So it's a sort of there's cameras that are sort of out of sight, really. So people are sort of much more relaxed. But there's something about when you're getting a haircut or the relationship between a barber and a client, a customer, that is. There's a lot of trust there. Obviously, there's a lot of stuff that gets spoken about. Because you can 1 minute you can be talking about like politics like us, and then that leads on to people can talk from their own personal point of view, and then people open up that something else has just happened, or you get a sense of someone's vibe slightly off. So you constantly have to gauge really where someone is at, really, because you're in quite a small space with them. Obviously, you're in quite close contact. So in any other situation, that's quite an intimidating thing. So what we want to do is just show sort of the wider world that the various conversations that are between a customer and a client, really, and they're fun. Sometimes we have such laughs. It's brilliant, and people open up, and some people are just very quiet, very private, and obviously that's absolutely fine as well. So it's quite interesting that the conversations we can have, really, it can be quite risque, and plus a lot of people feel there's things they can't necessarily say out loud, especially this day and age. Not that people are being offensive, God, no stretch of the imagination, but people don't feel they have to sort of filter or censor themselves in a way. Obviously, if somebody said something that was from a hatred point of view, I'd stamp on it, but straight away. But because there's no room for that. But I think you don't have to be Anita Roddick or Tommy Robinson. There is literally a sliding scale of people. Different people have different circumstances and they have opinions because of different things in their life. So people, need to feel that, they can be heard or they can be talked to without judgment, or that's the thing, really. It sounds very Brighton, but I love people. So it's really fascinating, and the things that people go through with their life and what they have to put up with, and things they want to do in life, and sometimes it's good to give them permission. So it's eavesdropping into those conversations, really, about what makes us all tick. And what I've realised is we're all the same, really. I know that sounds a bit right on, but generally we all worry about our close family or loved ones or friends or whoever, with our work colleagues, what we want to do in life. We all want to do a little bit better. We all worry about money. We've all been hurt. We've all been robbed, basically, of something or another. We're all trying to make our way, aren't we, really? We're all trying to strive and climb those ladders and sometimes be or just let go. So it's good to realise that we're on the same page, especially over the last couple of years, because it's been ridiculous, isn't it? So the mental health epidemic, I know people talk about that, but I just think it's good to talk. So It's basically, in a nutshell, it's to cover that. It's to cover the intimate conversations of laughs, you'll laugh, you'll cry, you'll get upset, you'll identify with people as well, realize actually it's all okay. We're all the same. We're all trying through it. And it's okay to be you and think what you think and stuff, because who needs to judge anybody, you know? That's it in a nutshell.
Now, if anybody thinks that the poor old person in the barber's chair is going to get a word in edgewise, it's all right. Andrew is also a very, very good listener. But can I just pick up on something that you just said, because you're part of our team, and you've met Tony, and you've had a discussion. And one of the things we're going to do is to look at some of the programs that we've done in the past. And one of the programs that I did, and it's an ongoing story, it's a work in progress really, but there are about 4 episodes of something I called Mad. And I have been very close to somebody who has been mentally strained, if that's the word that we use nowadays, over 4 or 5 years. So I understand not only some of the tensions and the problems, but also the way that they're treated. And it is actually, in the main, is absolutely abysmal. Absolutely abysmal. And that stems, generally speaking, from local authorities who don't understand one little bit. All they do is they offer, oh gosh, mental health. Look at the percentage. Look at this. Look at that. And what are you doing about it? Nothing. You don't train your staff. You can allow them to continue to bully. And I use that word advisedly because I also made myself. No, I didn't. I became homeless by accident. So I decided to stick it for 6 weeks, and I found out what happened. I'm still being harassed over the thing by the council, and they don't care. Now, I'm tough as old boot. I don't care either. Every time that they get feisty, I say, I'll see you in court. And that's when they back off, because they don't like going to court. They don't want what they do and how they behave. They don't want what it put out into the public. So I continue to fight with them and back and forwards. But, you know, I'm 35, 36, getting on a bit, and I don't like being bullied like that. And I'm very aware that people who are 80, 81, 82, 83, they don't care. They treat people of that age exactly the same as they treat people of 21, 22, 23 who transgress. And it's just not right. It is not on. And can I get anybody to engage down there? No, not a bit. They don't care. They really do not care. So we're going to carry on with our programs on MAD and the homeless. And we're going to sort of keep kicking. Because forgive me if I just interrupt our conversation for a moment, but Harvard University, about 4 or 5 years ago, and the reason that I'm so passionate about local media is they did a survey of the Americas, and then because they looked at the results and they said, hang on, let's find out what's happening in other English-speaking societies. So they did one here as well, and that is that the more shrinkage there is in local media, is the higher the tax rate, local taxes, council tax rate goes, and the less efficient the council becomes. Now, I think we've got a classic case in Lewis, right? We've lost a lot of media. Now, I actually bump into the street. I mean, I bumped into Kevin Kramer yesterday, who's well known in local media. I often talk to other people who are involved. I even have a chat to Norman Baker from time to time, who was a former MP, but is now a media man. And we discuss this shrinkage of media, which is frightening. But also, it is quite clear that the efficiency of the local council has gone south. And the cost to us with council tax has gone north. And that a lot of nowadays, you can't even talk to somebody in the local council who isn't in Eastbourne. So the whole thing is a mess. It is a mess. But will they admit it? No. You know, and I laugh because they would say, well, look at the people who watch us when we do our blog. Yeah, the party faithful. 200 people each week watch their little blog, the party faithful. No, they're not fooling anybody. And we actually tell it like it is. And I'm delighted that you're part of the family, because you're telling it like it is this morning. And I welcome that. And I shall welcome your program with open arms. It's going to be a bloody good one. Yeah. And it is, we've got to have this tradition of keeping people on their toes. And why not? And we'll
Well,
have a lot of people who will yell at us and scream at us and say, "Yeah, they're not that bad." Yes, they are. And that's
yeah,
our stance. Yes, they are. And let them start to show and
yeah,
demonstrate that they care about people. They won't. They don't.
yeah.
And
But where's
actually,
the follow up? You know, where's the follow up for duty of care? You know, it's the thing of, you know, we all stand on the shoulders of giants. You know, so this is the thing. You know, it's not about necessarily people who are here now. It's looking after people as well. You know, young and old and stuff as well. And it's, but where's the follow up? Where's not someone in an office who's say dealing with a particular that particular case, then going up and speaking to somebody else? So we need to follow this up. We need to follow this up. I don't understand that, how it's so tunnel vision, because you know it's not just a name on a page, is it? It's someone's life and everything that affects that. So
yeah.
I know it's resources and stuff like that. So why don't they then come out and say we've been strangled, we've put the council tax up, however the government has strangled our. So it's, you know, that's not out there, is it? Unfortunately, this, you know, they need to get on that then. So they need to like do what you're doing, you know, and say we've been starved of our grants, you know, so that's what's causing our effect. But because no one hears that, you just see the effect of it, and people fall by the wayside. You know, we've got to look after people. You know, it's.
But there are no people. There are no people left in government. They've all been replaced by computers. It's the computer that actually is the bully. The thing is that the politicians and the executive do nothing about it. They just leave the status quo. It's wonderful. I sometimes wonder how long they take for lunch, some of these politicians, and how long is. I mean, you know, with all due respect, the civil service have got all sorts of rules which protect the civil service, and they don't protect anybody else. So I'm quite sure there is something there that says, you know, if you go for lunch at 10 o'clock, make sure you're back to tidy your desk at 4 in the afternoon. Ha ha ha! Oh, that'll sting. I bet they start to yell and scream at us now. But that's the impression. And one of the things that I find about public relations now, and I've done public relations. I've done public relations at British Airways, for PricewaterhouseCoopers, and from Harland and Wolff, the makers of the Titanic. And the fact is, in those days, it was real public relations. Now it's flim-flam. It's trying to tell everybody just how wonderful they are, and they're not. And it's about time that we actually started it. Oh, there she is. There's Bella. Yes.
She must have heard you, Kate.
Yes.
Yeah,
Good morning, my darling. Yes. Oh, yes, there she is. Where are you? Where are the biscuits?
Exactly. Yeah, she wants her breakfast. That's why she's no, it's true,
right
you
now,
know.
Andrew, it's 8:52. I'm just going to remind people that outside there, it's a lovely morning. The sun is in the sky. All is well with the world. And if it's going to rain, it will be raining now, and it's not. So it looks as if the day is going to improve. We're going to have cloud layers, scattered showers, scattered sunshine, and the 12 degrees is the top. But that is now, I believe, that actually autumn or fall. You know, I always used to argue when I was in Canada with people, I would say autumn, and they would say no, fall. But apparently, in medieval times, it was known as the fall. And that autumn is a later word. So the Americans have actually got it right. They kept the word fall, and we changed it to autumn, but it doesn't matter. An autumn day, when I was a kid, we used to rustle through, kick with our new shoes through the leaves on the ground and find the conkers and sniff the air and wrap up in it with our scarf because the end of our nose would start to tingle. And it's getting that way again. And it's lovely. It's just lovely to be out there. Yeah. So that's the weather, folks. Okay, right, Andrew. I just want to show people again who you are, and over a period of an hour, the famous mantra by which we go in journalism is tell them, remind them that you've told them, and remind them that you reminded them. So we've shown you twice. This is this one. Remind you that we're reminding you. Whoops. So there we are.
Oh,
That's us, and that's you, and a lovely place it is as well. And I'm going to show that several times over the next few days because
well,
it just
don't.
shows.
You'll be sick of it. Don't.
Well, I may be sick of it, but remember that people don't watch us 24 hours a day, 10 days a week, or anything of that sort. So to show it frequently
Fools.
is somebody then catches it once. I heard lots of burps and bleeps and so on. So Tony, I hope I didn't bugger the sound system there. No, he's shaking his head. I'm probably all right because what happens is if I muck it up, he's very nice and he says it's always somebody else's fault. You see. And then at the end of the conversation, he says, and don't do it again.
Brilliant. Brilliant.
He's a right school teacher, I'll tell you. But we are gathering together a really good team. We had our wine expert, Fergus Wood, on earlier in the week. We had problems getting hold of Robert McDonald, but hopefully next week Robert will be around. And of course, Stuart always comes into the studio. He likes coming into the studio, and as he says, we're like Oliver Hardy and
Stan Laurel.
Sorry,
Stan Laurel.
That's right. We're like Laurel and Hardy, and indeed, I suppose that we are. But every morning, having somebody different has got different character. And I'm just delighted that we've got another mouth to roar. So keep that up, my boy. Keep that up. And we're all looking forward. Well, we'll see you on a weekly basis. I'm looking forward to your own program. Now it is 8:56, so we're going to have to say goodbye in a moment or two. But just one other thing that the Queen apparently is now back to full duty. People have different views on royalty, but my argument is that she is the head of state. And in a constitutional monarchy, that's like being a president, if you like. If the Queen is in trouble, then the country is in trouble because it's just the same as if the American president is ill, then America is in trouble. The head of state is the head of state. Doesn't matter what you think. And that we have, because we happen to have royalty as head of state, it doesn't mean to say that the job is any less well done or that the structure, actually the structure is very, very good. Constitutional monarchy, very difficult to overthrow, very difficult. Whereas the presidency it happens all the time, particularly in the South American countries. All right, that's my little thing. But the Queen is back on track, and I'm quite sure that even if she doesn't come into Grizzlies, and I know that you don't normally do ladies, but as Mickey says, through green screen, we can actually put her next to you.
That'd be good. I love the Queen. I think she's great, you know.
Well, and I'm sure that Bella will love her too.
Which the Queen's been there throughout how many prime ministers, you know, so she's seen it all and everything. So you think if anyone's got an outside view on everything and how it should be with how things are affecting people, it's her, isn't it? I wish she would come down and just kick out Boris Johnson and go, right, I'm in charge now. This is happening, that's happening. You do one. It'd be great, wouldn't it? Because she's so right on. It's brilliant.
It would be. You're talking revolution now, my boy. You're talking revolution.
Come on, everyone.
Now, if you want to have fun, if you want to have, get hold of Andrew at Grizzlies and go and have your hair cut, whether it's needed or not. I'm there tomorrow.
No, pop in. Everyone's welcome.
I don't know whether I need it, but I wouldn't miss my bi-monthly visit to Andrews for all the tea in China. I have a nice little drink. I have a nice little chat. I see all sorts of other interesting people around. And not only that, but the two of us ranting together raise the roof. We raise the roof. It is 8:59. We've got to say goodbye, Andrew. Thank you for being with us.
Have a good day.
Yeah, we shall look forward to this day week when you'll join us again and to the start of your program, Snip Chat. Until then, from both of us, here we go. Toodle pip.
Lots of love.